Hey and welcome. I'm Joanna Turner, business and spiritual success mentor for female entrepreneurs. So, I was at a conference this week or last week, and we were talking about what people's challenges are. So I emailed my email list and I said, hey, like a couple of lines in an email, what is your biggest challenge in life or business? Because I want to help you answer that. I hate seeing people stuck spinning their wheels, not doing stuff they're supposed to be doing, whether it's fear or not knowing the next step or not knowing how to do it. So I'm going to do, I think, an email a day for the next couple of days and just answer that one person's specific questions. Now, this lady had more than one question, so I'm going to try and cover them all in this live, and we'll see how we go. So I might just try and share this if it pops up on my page. Let me see if I can share this real quick, or maybe I'll share afterwards. All right. And please, if you think this is valuable, please share this. Because we need more people. We need more people doing this work. We need more people showing up and getting over all of this stuff. So the question she asked me, Meredith, this is for you. This live is for you. How do I get out of the dollars for hours business model? How do I get the ability to work from anywhere? I want to start a family in the next few years and I want flexibility. Her biggest challenge, where to even start, and how does she do it in an authentic way that doesn't feel salesy, right? I think, bless her, she has asked the questions that so many people want the answers to, and I'm going to try and do that for you today. But first off, I want to say, I hear you. I get it. I have had each of these challenges, asked myself the same questions, gone out looking for the same answers, and I'm very lucky. I mean, I've put in a ton of hard work, but I'm very lucky and blessed that I have exactly that. I don't operate on the dollars for hours business model. I can work from anywhere. I'm currently in Boise, Idaho. I've been a digital nomad for 3 years. I have no home address. I travel. I have no stuff. I got rid of everything. So I really am fully flexible, and I have all of my belongings with me. Every time I get an Uber or a taxi from the airport and people lift my bags, like, what the hell is in here? Rocks? And I'm like, my crystal collection? But let's not talk about it. The other question, so I totally get that. And I'll just talk about a bunch of these things. So if you're here, say hi. If you have questions and you have follow-up questions on anything I'm sharing, please pop them in the comments below. And if you're watching the replay, still say hi. I will come back and check the comments on the replay, and I will also answer your questions there. So let's keep it interactive, and I'm happy to answer your questions. So I'm going to tell you a quick story, because when I was just starting out, when I used to be an accountant of all things, and now my life is dramatically different. So I remember first of all, being stuck in that job and being like, I'm so highly niched even within my accounting career. How am I even going to get out of this? And I was in insurance, and reinsurance was my niche. Super fun stuff. And I was applying for a ton of other jobs as an accountant. I couldn't even get out of that industry. I felt so stuck. They're like, ooh, regulation. Yay, we have another job over here doing insurance. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. So I felt completely stuck, and even in the niche within my industry, in my corporate job as an accountant. And then I remember, I won't tell you my whole story here, but I started studying to become a health coach. I had a back injury. There's a whole story. I had lots of health and weight issues, and I was looking for answers. And I started to study to become a health coach with IAN. And I know a lot of people start there. That's like it's like a springboard, and it kind of opens doors, because honestly, I didn't even know there was an online coaching industry when I was, before that, I didn't even know what it was. I followed a couple of health bloggers, and I got the Mind Body Green subscription email into my inbox. But I never thought I would be one of those people, or have my own emails going out to people. So that whole concept was totally foreign. And the beautiful thing about IAN was that you could start to take clients after 6 months. And I was so excited. I was so excited that I actually quit my job after 6 months because I was like, yes, I'm so excited. I want to do this. And I was also not concentrating at my work anymore because I was just so like I could see the light. I could see something else was possible. I didn't quite know what it was going to look like, but I knew there was something else was possible. And I, at the time, because of all my health issues, I've been seeing an amazing naturopath, and I'd been going to see her pretty much once a month for the last year and a half. And this lady, I would go to her office, I would sit in her office, we'd have a chat, she'd recommend stressing less, sleeping more, and taking a whole bunch of supplements, right? She was a super lovely lady. I had a lot of respect for her. We had a really beautiful connection. But and so that was what I was studying to be a nutritionist, but she'd been doing this for 25 years. And I was like, oh, she knows everything. She's amazing. But she also charged me $95 every time I went, once a month, in her little office. And I thought if I was going to be a health coach, that's what I had to do. I couldn't see another way. I didn't know there was another option available for me. And I actually took a room in a wellness studio in this yoga studio place. And I thought, I know. And I got it all set up and I got all my things in place. I set this little office up above the yoga studio. And I thought, I'm just going to sit up here. People are going to know I'm awesome. People are going to know I have all these skills and I can help them. And I've been doing all of this studying and all of this work. And I was like, yes, this is what I'm going to do. And lo and behold, I think 2 people came and visited me in that office space. The yoga studio wasn't helping me, and I thought they were going to help me like advertise, and they weren't up for it. I honestly thought I'd stick a couple of flyers in the yoga studio, and my friends and family, and they would just refer people, and that would be it. And I'd sit happily in this little room in a yoga studio helping people and getting paid by the hour. And when I first started out, I started giving people free sessions, and then I started doing $50 an hour. And then because I couldn't possibly charge more than $95, because my naturopath that I really respected was charging $95 an hour and had 25 years experience. So I was like, there's no way I could charge more than that. That would be insane. It would be absolutely insane. So the next client, I'd quit my job at this point. I didn't have another income. And so seeing one person or 2 people a week at $50 wasn't really going to pay my $550 a week rent in Sydney near the beach, right? So I was going to have to come up with some other plan, right? And so I was like, oh, I know, I'll up my price. And so I charged $90 because I couldn't charge $95 because that was more like, that would have been more than my naturopath with 25 years experience. And because then I freaked out and I went back and I charged $80. I discounted it. And I was just stuck in this cycle, and I was like, how do I get out of this? I'm not having all these people come to me. And I also started doing the sums. And I remember sitting in a cafe with one of my other friends who was also studying with the nutrition company with IIN. And we were figuring out how we were going to make this work. This was probably before I'd quit my job, right? We were sitting there trying to figure out how we'd make this work. And I was like, well, if we both get a room in a wellness studio and there's 40 hours in a week, and I was like, well, I can't charge more than $95, right? So I was starting to do the sums, and I'm like, 40 times 95 is, I don't know how much that is. What's that? Less than $4,000. And I thought, oh my goodness, if once I take into account living expenses and all the other things, I'm going to have to work full time, back to back clients, like 7, 8 a day, 5 days a week, to even earn close to what I'm earning in my already 9-to-5 job, right? Anybody else done those sums and been like, this isn't going to work. This is just isn't going to work, because I also did not want to sacrifice my lifestyle and that I had become accustomed to on my nice fancy accountant salary. So I was kind of stuck in this place. I just couldn't see how the options. I just couldn't see how it was going to work. So hopefully when the girl watches this back, she'll be like, yes, that's where I'm stuck. So the first thing I did was, one, hire a coach, because I didn't know what was possible for me. I didn't have a clue. And I was working in this little wellness studio, and I actually I rented a second wellness studio because I thought that was the answer. So I had 2 locations. Genius, right? And that still wasn't the answer. Plus, I was relying on these other women, the wellness studio owners, who were actually completely flaky, and it just wasn't working, right? So I very quickly realized this wasn't going to work. And actually, one of the wellness ladies, I went round, she messaged me and she said, look, your stuff's on the doorstep, you have to leave. And I was like, what? And she'd literally put all of my stuff, cushions and tissues and my clock and all the little bits and pieces I had, and just put them in a black bag and left them on the front door. She decided she didn't want me to be in her wellness studio anymore. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, 1, I think you're nuts, but 2, wow, right, that's not going to work for me. And I cannot have this new business I can't be beholden to somebody else. Like, her on a whim has a bad day and decides that I'm not going to be part of her little studio place anyway. I was like, oh shit, this screws up my plans pretty big. And the second wellness studio shut down too. Like, that was game over on that one too. And I was like, wow, this is nuts. So I hate not, like, that was just such complete lack of control for me. I was not willing to have my business in the hands of these slightly flaky women. And yet I still didn't really understand the power of the online coaching space and what was actually really, really possible for me. And it was while working with my first coach that I miraculously found on Facebook. She started opening up my eyes to what was possible. And the women in her community were having 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K months in income. And I was like, hang on a second, how is that possible? Because I did my sums, and if I charge $95 an hour and work 7 days a week, I'm still not going to get to those numbers. So it just was this complete mental shift for me. I was like, how are they doing it? How are they doing it? And the concept that was introduced to me was packages, right? So packages, if you are stuck in the dollars per hour business model, packages are your friend, right? Making an offer, building out an irresistible offer. Also, what I had to wrap my head around was that I was used to paying $95 an hour. And when I started seeing what some of these women were charging for their packages, it blew my mind. I was like, oh my goodness, how is she charging $5,000 for a 3-month package? How is she charging $1,500 for a 3-month package? I was just like, I couldn't believe it. And there was one girl charging $25,000 for a package. And this whole model just was alien to me. And so I'm guessing if you're stuck in that dollars per hour business model, you're in the same space. So I had to wrap my head around the fact that people were creating packages, and that's where the value was. And one of the parts of me that I had to get really comfortable with was knowing that serving somebody one time for 1 hour, even if they did maybe come back, I didn't always go back every month to my naturopath, right? I wasn't invested in my health, and my health didn't really improve while working with her because I wasn't fully invested in it. And I had to get over myself and over thinking that she was the Holy Grail. And I had to also be like, well, that's her choice. That's her model. That's what she was taught. What if that doesn't have to be my story? I don't have to take on her wealth consciousness. I don't have to take on her beliefs and how she thinks she has only one option in the way to run her company. 25 years ago, having a little office in a wellness like a studio was the way you did that, right? Like that was accepted. So we have this new opportunity. The wonderful internet has opened up to us these incredible opportunities to serve more people, to have a bigger audience, and to make a bigger impact. So the first thing I had to do was realize that me paying $95 once a month, maybe if I showed up, wasn't really wasn't really getting me the results that I wanted. And I'm going to guess that if you know that just serving somebody once isn't going to sort all their problems out. Now, I don't know specifically what the girl does that messaged me that would be useful, but for anybody stuck in that cycle, one visit isn't really going to solve their problems. So, and what I was doing was a lot of NLP work and EFT and really helping people shift their limiting beliefs at a deep core level. And I started out, I used to help people with emotional eating. Now it's more money blocks and abundance and, living into their possibility and really living out their full potential. So I had to get really comfortable with realizing that I served people in a better capacity when they bought a package deal from me. Now, it doesn't mean that you get to jump from, this $50 an hour and wherever you are charging an hour to $5,000, $10,000, $25,000 packages tomorrow. That would actually be too much for your nervous system to handle. Like, you wouldn't be able to conduct the sales call. You wouldn't be able to sell that with integrity, because I know you don't want to be salesy. So it always has to be in alignment. It always has to be in integrity. The first package I ever sold was $1,500. And then the girl who bought it freaked out. And so it was like $1,000 because she didn't make the last payment. And maybe it was me that freaked out about that, right? So I sold $1,000 package. And even in that, I was massively over delivering because I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this person's paid me this amount of money. Let me do these ginormous sessions. So I was doing these massive 2-hour sessions with her every single week to try and get her the result that I thought I wanted. So that also wasn't really working. I was over delivering within that model. But when you get really clear on who your target market is, how you can serve them in the best way possible, and if you serving them in the best way possible is creating packages of transformation for them, so as they fully commit and they fully invest, and they also have that support in that container, right? In between my single appointments with this lady, I was on my own. I didn't have a community. I didn't have somebody I could check in with. And I didn't have the accountability of seeing her every single week. Or whatever that package and that structure is that you create. And in this online world, it's kind of like an all relative thing, right? Like I've paid my coaches $10,000, $15,000, $25,000. I'm currently enrolled in a program that's $25,000, right? Like the investments in this online world, in this personal development world, are just bigger, and it so becomes relative, right? So I pay my coaches big bucks, but then I can receive more money, right? So I'm investing in this big way in myself, and then so it's allowing me to really value my own services, my knowledge, because I'm willing to pay it and I see the value in it. And so I'm able to then charge other people more for a package deal. And that's the one-on-one piece. If you're going to work with people one-on-one, the ultimate place you get to is then packaging up all of your knowledge and your information into a group program, into a mastermind. So you're then serving one to many. So you're not even one-on-one anymore. And the ultimate in that is then selling like a digital product or an online course where it's all pre-made and you don't even have to like deal with the people at all, which is sometimes even better. Although I do love the in-person connection and working with people live on my calls. So there's lots of different options. I'm even part of a network marketing company. I'm in doTERRA. So it's as well as I run my whole business as well. And I just have that on the side. There's a beautiful community there. And it's a product. So it's a completely different kettle of fish. So there are lots and lots of options out there for you. I want you to know that you have so much knowledge and so much wisdom from what you've been doing with whoever you're doing it with one-on-one. And you can help to package that and price that. But it does take a lot of inner work and knowing and being guided and being in alignment. And all of that is going to feel really good. So, and when you're starting out and when you're starting these packages, you work your way up to the 5K, the 10K, the 15K packages. Some people can make a giant leap and be like, sure thing, here's my, big package. But for me and for my clients, we tend to work our way up the scale. So that's hopefully the first part of your question answered. The second part, the ability to work anywhere. I mean, I'm on my laptop, right? Like I have my phone, right? That's all I need to run my business. I also have a tripod, like a selfie stick. And we don't really need too much more than that to be able to work from anywhere. I've been on the road now for 3 years. And it's time for me to get a home base. I have to admit, within the rest of this year, I'm going to have a home base, and then I'm going to travel from my home base. So the completely, if you do have kids and going completely like rogue and just traveling the world doesn't always work for everybody. Getting a routine is quite difficult. Consistency, like I haven't been really cooking for myself because I'm always in Airbnbs and like moving and in hotels and things. So it is amazing, and I get to attend events and host events and retreats, but also there is an element of it that's a little bit unsettling. So my dream, which I'm going to have this year, is a beautiful apartment, and then still travel the world probably for 6 months a year, but always coming back to a home base. So creating that for yourself is about getting your systems and structures set up online to be able to do that, building a community that follows you and knows what you're up to, building out an email list so as you have like a group of people that follow you and are available to buy your stuff, which is amazing, and building up your social media following so as people know who you are, where you are, what you're up to, allow them to follow your journey and your story. And that really gives you the ability to work from anywhere, and you can deliver almost anything apart from like in-person massage online. I do distance healing work and Reiki, and all of my healing work works great online because it's energy, right? Like it's energetic. So all of that stuff still works online wherever I am in the world. And I work with all of my coaches online. My coach is in Vancouver. I've worked with her for 2 years. I've never met the woman, right? But she knows me so deep inside. She knows everything about me, but I've never met her. So we have that ability, and if you set up your digital programs and you can have them all linked up so as people can log in and access that information from anywhere, right? So it's possible, but it's also, you need, again, get a coach and have somebody guide you through that process. I have an amazing program called Abundance Alchemy that's open for enrollment right now. It's a 6-week program, and we talk about this stuff, right? We're talking about getting clarity and moving forward, and there's sales trainings and all sorts of amazing things in there. I'll tell you a bit more about that in a second. I just want to answer these last couple of points. But yeah, get somebody to help you. That's the first thing I did. I was enrolled in this coaching program. Then I went and invested in my first, Abundance Alchemy, you can join today for $197, right? Like it's not 10, 15, 20 grand, but my first coach that I jumped in after my first initial coaching program, which was $5,000. Then I invested in, I think it was maybe an $8-9 grand program initially. Then I invested in another 25K. So like I have invested massively, but you can get a lot of this information without doing that. But when you invest and you go all in, it's a whole different kettle of fish. And then having somebody to hold you accountable and a community to ask questions, and to get you started, to get you over your challenges so as you are moving forward. So you want the flexibility. Everything I've talked about is going to give you flexibility, right? Like you want to be at the side of watching your kids play football, like posting on Instagram and like, creating money in your account, right? That is possible using this online business model. I've seen the one lady I follow is breastfeeding, and I see her breastfeeding and doing a Facebook Live at the same time, right? So she has that flexibility built into her life, and it is totally possible. The biggest challenge where to start, get a coach. But get clear on who this person is that you want to help. Like number one, I'm in a big mastermind, it's a big program, and they're even bringing us back to who is it, who do you serve, well, how do you want to help them, right? Coming back to that question and getting really clear on that. If you're not clear on who you want to help and how you want to help them, the rest of it's kind of irrelevant. But also I see people getting stuck on that, right? They're like, I don't know my target market. 4 years later, there's women in this first program I was in that still don't know who they're serving. And that can be fear, and it can just be fear blocking your clarity, right? So be very, very aware. Don't spend too long on it. Like, you need to know, but also when you start working, it'll start to be more and more refined, right? You'll figure out exactly who you're supposed to help. So figure that out, and then figure out what you're going to offer them. So in terms of this package, this magical package, the offer and the pricing, so get that clear. And then you've got to figure out how to market yourself, right? Like how to get that out into the world. Facebook Live, for instance, is a fabulous place to start, right? Next question, last one. I have a client in 7 minutes. So how do I do this in an authentic way that doesn't feel salesy? So I could talk about this in itself for a long time. I have a sales training bonus as part of Abundance Alchemy, where we'll be going over things like this, how to not be salesy, how to be true and real, and also how to overcome objections in a really genuine, authentic way without being a complete eek. So to me, it's about being yourself. It's about showing up, genuinely wanting to help somebody. And if you're asking that question, you're never going to be salesy, right? Like if you're like completely oblivious and just being a total douchebag, you're going to come across as being salesy. But it's also the old way of doing things, right? People just, if you don't want to be salesy, you're not going to respond to somebody who's also salesy, right? So you're going to feel that in your body, and you're going to be like, no, it feels like great. You're just not going to resonate with it. And so if you don't want to be salesy, your people aren't going to resonate with that either. So generally anyone who's asking that question isn't going to be salesy, but sales is a lifelong learning, right? And to me, authenticity and being your most authentic self is your number one asset. It's your number one marketing tool. It's your number one way to be non-salesy. But to be authentic, you cannot live with a closed heart in fear, right? And people live in this fear-based paradigm, and oh my God, this is going to thing, and we fear judgment, and we fear rejection, and we fear failure, and we fear success, right? So if we're all up this shit, right, thinking we should be something, or we should do something, or we should be somebody, then if we're all up in that fear, then we're not being authentic. We're not being our truth, right? We're trying to be the thing that we think other people want us to be. And that is going to kill your sales faster than anything else. So clear the fear, be your most authentic self, and then you don't have to ever be salesy. But again, in Abundance Alchemy, which is enrolling right now, I'm going to jump on the orientation call today, but it's open. We officially start Monday, so there's plenty of time to join us. It's a 6-week program, but we've got extra training, so it's probably going to stretch out more like 2 months to really dig into all this stuff. We have we're going to get you clear all the false crap and the fears and the beliefs and all that stuff, so as you can be your most authentic self, so as you do have clarity, so as you can take the next step forward. I am really excited about this program. I know it works. I've been teaching the core teachings for years, and now I'm bringing all of my new, awakening, spiritual awakening, juiciness, divine feminine, sprinkling it all over the core beautiful Money Blocks trainings, and answering all of these questions. So if you want some of these type of questions answered live, if you want to be coached live by me, put in the hot seat, in a beautiful supportive community. I am a zero judgment community. I want people to be able to be vulnerable and be brave within this beautiful sacred container. So if that's something, I'm going to pop the link in here at joannaturner.com. You can go check it out. There's a whole 2-hour training at the top of the page. And just, if it feels right, if it feels good in your body, come join us. We're going to be going into this kind of stuff in more detail. I'm happy to answer any questions once you're in my community and once you're in that container, because I want you to get the best results possible. I am going to jump off because I need to go run to the bathroom before I see my client in 3 minutes. And if this has been helpful, please share it. I know more people need this message, and I want people to live their, so cliched, but live their best life and do what's possible and go out and help people, right? Like this question, like this person has way more people to help, right? She has way more people she can go and help when she starts to leverage this beautiful online platform that we have. So we have these amazing opportunities. Share this if you feel called. I would massively appreciate it. And I'll pop the link for Abundance Alchemy in here, joannaturner.com. Check it out. If it feels good, join us. There's a full money back guarantee if it doesn't work, which it will work. But you have to do the work. Show up. And I'm excited to see you on there. Plus some super sexy bonuses, like a Tantra and Sex Magic bonus training. So watch out for that. The exciting things are coming, and I'll see y'all soon. Take care. Bye.